He hails from Rajasthan. He's been killed in Kulgam. We'll be showing you pictures of how the terrorist comes inside this bank branch and shoots him in 8 to 10 seconds flat. That video on your screens as well. Vijay had joined as a bank manager in Kulgam just 4 days ago, and he was attacked and killed by terrorists at his workplace, which is in the bank itself. Now, this is the 8th such incident in the last 25 days where a member of the minority Hindu community has been targeting. Taking a note of the recent killings, Jammu and Kashmir's governor has assured proper security and secure accommodation for Hindus who are working in the valley. But can you actually secure every Hindu in the Kashmir valley? That is a question that remains to be asked. The Kashmiri Pandit communities up in arms have been protesting since the killing of Rahul Bhatt 2 weeks ago. Let me go straight across to Mufti Islah, who is joining us from the spot where the attack took place, essentially the bank where Vijay used to work. And of course, we have Tejinder, who is joining us live from Jammu as well. Mufti, I'm coming to you first. Just show us the area, just show us the location and talk us through how this tragedy, this terror played out.
Well, in fact, I'm standing outside this particular bank where this incident, this gory incident took place. The brutal killing of Vijay Kumar. He's apparently the 8th civilian who has been shot in the last 25 days. Now, the CCTV footage which we showed you in the last broadcast clearly suggested that here was the bank. It is the main entrance of the bank. Upon entering this particular place, the militant, you will see him in the CCTV footage, is whipping out his pistol and firing a couple of rounds directly on the upper portion of the body, and he's taken to the hospital where he succumbs. Now, we have some of the elements here. Unfortunately, these are disturbing visuals. We didn't want to show you, but to really, touch upon what had happened. This is the sweater he was wearing, blood stains, and this kind of gives you the description, the gory description of how militants had arrived here. Although we see in the CCTV footage only one, but apparently he was carried to this particular place on a motorbike. We are picking up from the sources, and then on that motorbike they made their escape. These are still prima facie initial investigations which police have made. Right now the policemen have really gone in. They're investigating the case. That's why on the entrance you will see a policeman who is not really allowing anyone to go in, because this is the investigation side. They don't want to really lose any proof or evidence that could be there. You'll see this building, unkempt kind of a building. The floor, the upper floor is still under construction. Then you have the ground floor where the bank actually was located. To give you a description of how this particular place is, you'll see that it's a kind of a three-way. There are three ways there. You will see security now in place. The CRPF, the army, as well as police have come in. There are vehicles of security men, and they've almost secured this area. However, so far we are picking up that no one has been arrested in this connection, although some people have been detained, mainly shopkeepers or some of the bank officials there. They have been picked up for questioning, and in fact that is the other side of the road where again you will see full security bandobast. Now, along with the security men, you will see hordes of media really which have come in to really cover this particular area. Clearly the building, as you see, is not a big one, and you will see that there are few windows, and there is the main entrance, that in blue, where this particular militant entered. Okay. And he fired Shreya, killing the bank manager Vijay Kumar from Rajasthan, who actually succumbed on way to the hospital. But here was where he was fatally wounded. This particular place where you now see the policemen.
I have a couple of questions for you. Is this Ilaki Dehati Bank, the picture that you're showing us, and that is the bank in which Vijay Kumar worked as a manager? He had just been posted there 4 days ago. Is it a government bank? Is it a private bank? He's a young man. I'm wondering if he voluntarily came to Kashmir, or if he was posted here. If any of those details are available to us, because we understand that, look, he's not a Kashmiri Pandit. I just want to make our viewers understand this. Kashmiri Pandits have been targeted in the Kashmir Valley, but so have the Hindu minorities, irrespective of where they have come from. Vijay Kumar comes from Rajasthan. He's not a Kashmiri Pandit. Kashmiri Pandits are in the Kashmir Valley, some 4,500 of them, under a government scheme. Where the government wants to encourage Kashmiri Pandits to go back to the valley, and this is a start. They feel putting them in employment there is a start. So could you help us understand a bit about Vijay Kumar? He comes from Rajasthan. Was this a voluntary posting? Is this bank a government bank? Is this bank a private bank? How does it work? How did he get here?
It's a government entity, certainly,
Okay.
and what is happening is that there are hordes of these banks across the villages, and these are essentially put to help farmers, villagers, which kind of give subsidized loan to these people for seeds, for plants, and for fertilizers, and they've essentially been put deep into the villages so that the farmers are really helped. Now, Vijay Kumar in question has been in the valley since last 3 years. He has been posted thrice. The first posting he had was in an area called Pulau in Kulgam. Then briefly he went to a place called Larno, which is in Kukarnak, again South Kashmir. And this was in fact the third posting. He had been in the valley since last 3 years. And in fact, in this particular branch, he was posted some 5 days back. Now, the other personal details are that he was married some 45 days back,
Oh,
and
Lord.
clearly he has a young widow at home along with family. So that really is our personal details, which kind of send shockwaves down the spine.
It's heartbreaking.
But it's
For a young
heartbreaking,
man
really.
just married
Heartbreaking.
45 days. Yes, a young man just 45 days, Mufti, out there to earn a living, out there to ensure that his family has a good life. He's just there doing his job, and he's targeted by militants. There have been 25 such killings in the valley. There have been 8, in fact, such killings in the valley in the last 25 days or so. And the number of terror incidents as compared to last year is up significantly. We'll put those numbers out for you as well. Also, the question as to why it is happening. But for the moment, let me go across to my colleague Tejinder, who is joining us from Jammu, someone who tracks security agencies very closely as well. Tejinder, Mufti is talking about the fact that in situations like this, it becomes, despite the fact that there is CCTV footage that is available, the police has not been able to zero down on who this terrorist is and where he came from. And that largely is because of something called hybrid terrorists that we are seeing in the Kashmir Valley now. These are young men, young regular men who have a daytime job, who could be bankers, who could be shikarawalas, who could be anything, and they have been indoctrinated to a level where they will simply take a gun with some basic training, get to an area, do this targeted killing, and then simply melt away in the crowd without anyone knowing where they came from or where they went. Which is why cracking these cases becomes doubly difficult for security agencies.
It all. This hybrid module of terrorism is something which has been baffling the security forces in Kashmir Valley. You see, as my colleague Mufti is reporting from the spot, he also mentioned that the other day when a school teacher, Rajni Bala, was killed in Gopalpura. Gopalpura is not far away from Mohanpura, where this today's incident did take place. So the security establishment, especially the Jammu and Kashmir police, they are also trying to find out whether the module of terrorists, the hybrid module of terrorists that carried out the killing of school teacher Rajni Bala is the same that carried out today's attack on Vijay Kumar, wherein unfortunately Vijay Kumar also succumbed to his injuries. As far as the identity of these hybrid terrorists is concerned, you see, these terrorists, as you rightly pointed out, that they do their normal routine things during the day, and they pick up the gun for some time. After carrying out the terror attack, after carrying out the selected target killing, they hand over the weapon back to the terrorists, and after that they merge into their locality without leaving a trace. So it becomes difficult for the security forces to find out who these terrorists, who these hybrid terrorists are, who carry out these terror attacks. There is a possibility that the module is not a local module. We saw this happening in the case of Rahul, but the module was not local. In case of Ambreen, the module, though one of the terrorists was local, but they, after carrying out the killing of the social media star Ambreen, but they shifted their base to South Kashmir. So there is every possibility that this module, which is involved in the killing of the school teacher Rajni Bala and also today's killing of Vijay Kumar, they might have come from other parts of the Kashmir. So this becomes difficult for the security agencies to trace them. But as I have been speaking to some of the senior police officials, they are saying that they are looking at